Who do you think is watching you right now? Not your neighbor, not your boss, but someone you've never met, sitting behind a screen miles away. The truth is the NSA has the power to look into your life in ways you might not imagine. Most people think, I have nothing to hide, but that's not the point. The question is, how much do they already know about you? And how do they collect it without you ever noticing? In this video, we're going to break it down step by step. By the end, you'll understand exactly how the NSA keeps an eye on ordinary people like you and me. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also reveal one detail about surveillance that almost nobody talks about. And once you hear it, you'll never look at your phone or computer the same way again. Most people have heard of the CIA or the FBI, but the NSA? That's the quiet one. The National Security Agency rarely makes headlines, unless there's a scandal. Yet, behind the scenes, it is one of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world. The NSA was officially created in 1952. Back then, the United States was in the middle of the Cold War with the Soviets. It wasn't about bombs or tanks. It was about secrets. Whoever controlled information had the upper hand. That's where the NSA came in. Their mission was simple: collect signals. That meant intercepting phone calls, radio waves, and any kind of electronic communication. Unlike the FBI, which works inside the United States, or the CIA, which operates mostly outside of it, the NSA focuses on listening. They don't chase criminals down the street. They don't kick in doors. Instead, they sit quietly monitoring. They gather data. They analyze patterns. They look for hidden threats in the endless stream of global communication. But there's one thing you need to know. The NSA doesn't just watch enemies. It doesn't just monitor foreign governments. Over time, its reach expanded. With the rise of the internet, smartphones, and social media, the amount of information being sent around the world exploded. Suddenly, the NSA had access to more than just phone calls. They could tap into emails, chats, searches, and even the tiny digital traces you leave behind without realizing it. This is where the agency gets controversial. Officially, their job is to protect the United States. They say they monitor communications to stop terrorism, cyber attacks, and foreign threats. And yes, they've helped prevent attacks in the past. But to find those threats, they cast a massive net. They collect information on millions of people, most of whom are not criminals, not terrorists, not spies. Just ordinary citizens. Think of the NSA as a giant ear in the sky. It doesn't always focus directly on you, but it's always listening. If you send a message overseas, if you call someone in another country, if you search for something suspicious, your data could end up in their files. You may never know it, but it's there. For decades, hardly anyone outside government circles even knew how far this went. The NSA kept its work hidden, tucked away in secret facilities and encrypted databases. It wasn't until whistleblowers like Edward Snowden came forward in 2013 that the world finally got a clear look. Documents revealed the agency was not just watching enemies abroad. It was monitoring its own citizens too. That was a turning point. Suddenly, people realized the NSA wasn't just some invisible Cold War relic. It was a modern surveillance machine, deeply connected to the technology we use every day. Your phone, your laptop, your emails, even the cloud storage where you save your photos. All of it could be tracked. So, when we say the NSA is watching, we don't mean a man in a trench coat following you down. We mean vast systems, satellites, and supercomputers that never sleep. They exist in the background, collecting, sorting, and storing data, just in case one day they decide they need it. And this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll look at the exact methods the NSA uses to collect your data, from your phone calls to the internet itself. So how does the NSA actually watch you? They don't knock on your door. They don't sneak into your house and check your laptop. It's much smarter than that, and far more invisible. The NSA works by plugging itself into the very systems we all use every day. Imagine the internet as a huge web of cables connecting the entire planet. Those cables carry emails, messages, video calls, and even your late-night Google searches. The NSA has access points inside this web. Through partnerships with telecom companies, and sometimes through secret agreements, they tap into the flow of data. This means they don't just see what one person is doing. They can monitor millions of people at the same time. One of their favorite tools is metadata. Metadata isn't the full conversation or the email text itself. Instead, it's the details around it. Who you called, when you called, how long you spoke, where you were when the call happened. For the NSA, this is gold. With enough metadata, they can map out your social circle, your habits, your routines, and even predict where you might be going next. But it doesn't stop with phone records. The NSA also collects internet traffic. Every website you visit, every email you send, every social media post, it all leaves a trace. Through programs like PRISM, the NSA gained access to data from big tech companies. Think Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple. These platforms hold billions of private conversations, photos, and documents. With the right clearance, NSA analysts could reach in and pull out what they needed. Then there's Xkeyscore, another powerful tool. It's basically a search engine for online activity. With it, NSA staff can type in a keyword, an email address, or even a phrase, and instantly see related online behavior from around the world. Think about it. While you're casually browsing or chatting with a friend, somewhere, your data might be sitting in a system that allows strangers to look it up. And let's not forget international communications. Whenever information crosses borders, it often travels through massive undersea cables. The NSA, along with partner agencies, has been known to tap into those lines. That gives them a front row seat to a global stream of information, whether it's a business deal, a family video call, or private messages you thought were secure. Now, you might think encryption protects you. And in some ways, it does. Encrypted apps like WhatsApp or Signal make it harder for outsiders to read your exact words. But metadata is still visible. Even if they can't see the content, they still see who you contacted, when, and how often. To the NSA, that can be just as powerful as the message itself. So, how much of this is aimed at you personally? The truth is, the NSA doesn't usually go after individuals one by one, unless they're the reason. But because they collect data in bulk, your information gets swept up anyway. Stored away. Waiting. Ready to be pulled up if needed. That's the chilling part. You don't need to be a target to be inside their system. Just by using modern technology, you're already part of the data stream they monitor. And this raises a big question. Why do they need so much information? What's the justification for gathering it all? That's exactly what we'll break down next, why the NSA says it does what it does. Now that you know how the NSA collects data, let's talk about the actual tools they use. These programs are the backbone of their surveillance power. Some are public knowledge today, thanks to leaks. Others are still hidden in shadows. But the ones we do know about are enough to show just how deep the rabbit hole goes. The first big one is PRISM. This program was revealed in 2013 through Edward Snowden's leaks. PRISM allowed the NSA to collect data directly from major tech companies. Think about that for a second. Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Yahoo. These platforms store nearly everything about you. Your emails, your photos, your messages, your documents. Through PRISM, the NSA had legal authority to request access to this information. And the companies, in many cases, had to comply. The result? A direct pipeline of private data flowing into government hands. Another powerful tool is called Xkeyscore. Some insiders have described it as the NSA's Google. Imagine being able to search the entire internet history of millions of people. With Xkeyscore, Analysts can type in an email address, a keyword, or even a phrase from a chat message, and instantly pull up data. They can see browsing activity, search history, online conversations, even what someone looked at on social media. In other words, if you've touched the internet, there's a chance X-Keyscore could find it. Then there's Boundless Informant. This is more of a tracking tool. It doesn't just collect data. It maps out where the data comes from and shows how much information is being gathered in different regions of the world. Think of it like a global heat map of surveillance. It shows which countries are being monitored the most and which areas are hot spots for NSA attention. Another program worth mentioning is Echelon, part of a global intelligence network. This system wasn't just the work of the NSA. It was built with help from allies, the UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Together, they form what's called the Five Eyes Alliance. Echelon is designed to intercept satellite communications, phone calls, faxes, and emails around the world. It's one of the earliest examples of massive, cooperative surveillance on a global scale. And don't forget about the taps on undersea cables. These cables are the backbone of international internet traffic. Billions of messages, transactions, and calls pass through them daily. The NSA, sometimes with help from telecom companies, can tap into these lines. That means they don't just rely on servers or tech companies. They can grab the raw flow of global communication as it moves across the ocean. Taken together, these programs form a network of surveillance that's almost impossible to escape. Prism grabs your data from tech giants. X-Keyscore lets analysts search it all. Boundless Informant shows where it's coming from. Echelon expands the reach with global partners. And the cable taps ensure that even private international communications can be pulled in. This combination makes the NSA one of the most powerful data collectors in history. But here's the big question. Why? Why go to such lengths, spend billions of dollars, and build such complex systems? The official answer is always the same: to keep the world safe. But is that the whole truth? That's what we'll dig into next. The reasons the NSA says it does this, and the debate over safety versus privacy. So why does the NSA do all of this? Why build such a massive surveillance system that reaches into almost every corner of the digital world? The official answer is clear: national security. The NSA says its mission is to protect the United States and its allies from threats. Terrorism, cyber attacks, spies, weapons of mass destruction. In short, anything that could harm the country or its people. After the attacks on September 11th, 2001, this mission became even more urgent. Many of the NSA's biggest programs grew rapidly after that day. The government argued that to stop another tragedy, it needed to see everything. Think about it like this. If someone is planning an attack, they might use phones, emails, or encrypted chats. To catch them, the NSA has to be listening. And not just to one or two people. To find a needle in the haystack, they need the whole haystack. That's why they collect so much data. They believe that by having it all, they can spot suspicious patterns before it's too late. And yes, sometimes this works. Surveillance has helped stop planned attacks. It has exposed spy networks. It has uncovered cyber threats before they became disasters. From the NSA's point of view, every piece of data is a potential lead, and every lead could save lives. But here's where the debate begins. If the NSA is collecting everyone's data, even if most people are innocent, is that fair? Is it right to give up privacy in exchange for safety? This is not a simple question. Supporters argue that safety must come first. They say, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. They believe the government should have every tool possible to protect citizens. For them, surveillance is like a security camera in a dangerous neighborhood. It may feel uncomfortable, but it makes everyone safer. Critics, however, see it differently. They argue that freedom and privacy are just as important as safety. If the government knows everything about you, where you go, who you talk to, what you think, then what kind of freedom is left. They fear that mass surveillance could easily be abused. Today it might be about terrorism. Tomorrow it could be about silencing political opponents, controlling public opinion, or targeting ordinary citizens. This debate exploded in 2013 when Edward Snowden revealed just how far the NSA's program. Many Americans felt betrayed. They didn't know their calls, texts, and emails were being swept up. The government defended itself, saying surveillance was necessary and legal. But the people were left asking, how much safety is worth giving up your privacy? At the heart of it, this is the question the NSA forces us to face. Do we want to live in a world where we trade personal freedom for the promise of security? Or do we accept the risks of freedom and keep the government's power limited? There's no easy answer. But one thing is clear, the NSA's surveillance programs aren't going away. Technology only makes them stronger. Which brings us to the next part. Are they really watching you personally? Or is your data just floating in the system waiting to be used? At this point, you might be asking the big question, is the NSA watching me? The answer is both simple and complicated. On one hand, the NSA is not sitting behind a screen, tracking every move you make. You're probably not important enough for that level of attention. Unless you are connected to a serious threat, your personal messages aren't being read line by line. The agency simply doesn't have the manpower to watch every single person individually. Billions of people use the internet every day. It would be impossible. But here's the part most people miss. Just because you're not being targeted doesn't mean your data isn't being collected.